everybody. And make sure I'm recording here. All right, time for another video, and this is totally impromptu again. If I sit down and practice and think about what I'm going to come up with and so forth, it might take forever. It might take a long time to come out with something. So I was sitting here just playing around. I brought some equipment up that I've had for a little bit. One is a preamp, and I really haven't experimented a whole lot with guitar sound, so I hooked it up and tried to come up with the closest that I can with the equipment that I have to the Eric Johnson sound. And so I'll play a little bit of that here in a minute. But I figure the lesson for today is a little complicated, and it's going to be advanced, but don't pass it up, because if you get confused, then you know you need to learn the basics. That makes sense, I guess, doesn't it? But maybe this will give you a reason why you should do all this studying of notes that just isn't that fun. I had fun with it, but most people don't have fun with it. Studying their chords, their keys, their sharps and flats, all of that stuff. And so let me tell you what I have set up here. Go into my equipment a little bit in case you're interested. And for the camera, I have a T1i. It's a Keenan Rebel. And for lighting, it just has my overhead lighting. It's a lot better than my last place, but I just have 5 just regular incandescent bulbs up ahead. I have a new Vox Valvetronics VT100 that my buddy, we traded amps. And if you're watching this, thank you much. He's enjoying his amp, which I had the Fender Deluxe, which just, didn't give me what I needed for my style. And then I have some Boss pedals. I have a tuner, acoustic simulator, a blues driver, the DS1, super chorus, and one of the digital delays. Of course, that's giving me the little echo that you hear there, and the reverb is coming off of the amp. Back here is a Behringer preamp. I got that for when I was doing studio work and doing vocals, but it works pretty good on guitar, I guess. And so I didn't tweak and tweak and tweak, but I thought this was sort of close, and I ain't going to get all the way close, because most of you probably know that are into guitar that Eric Johnson plays a Fender, and that's going to be the first biggest hurdle that I have, because I have an Ibanez. But see for yourself. I like to think that it sounds just a tiny bit like it. Something like that. And so there's a little bit of it. I used to know that song a little better than that, but that's just it kind of refreshed my mind just to get that out a little bit. Yeah, that was wrong. Yeah, I'm going to cut all that out too. Maybe I won't. The purpose of these videos is not to show that anyone is perfect. Some people just edit these things to death. And I do a little bit. I do a little bit editing, but, I don't remember everything. I make mistakes. Just like, I hope you enjoyed the God Bless the USA video. I know I had some vocal mistakes in there. I could have went back and fixed those. But I didn't, because that was my actual take that I did for the video. And, I don't want to be too fake, maybe just a little bit. Okay, the actual lesson. The triads, making chords. The foundation of chord making. Having a chord book can be a pretty good thing, but don't keep your eyes glued to it. Because making a chord, if you know how to make a chord, you can pretty much do away with a chord book permanently at a certain point, because you just You just play what you like, and if you know your scales, know your keys, then you know what chords you're playing, you know. And in some sense, you can call one chord many different things, but it doesn't matter in the end. It just matters if you like the way it sounds. For example, let's start basic. I'm gonna dissect let's say a G chord, G, B, and D. How do you know that those are the notes that are in the chord? Well, I don't know. They sound good, plus there's a theory behind them from the Greek. But you take the 1, 3, and 5 of any key, and that will give you the major chord of that key. So G, for example, I already gave you the 1, 3, and 5. Basically, you just count G, A, B, C, D. So you got G is your number 1, A, B is your number 3, C, D is your number 5. You take the 1, 3, and 5, basically counting, if you know how to count and know your alphabet, and noting and remember that it starts over at G, only goes to G, and you can form a chord. So G, B, and D can be played anywhere on the neck, or play as a triad, or as arpeggio, play any kind of different ways. This is a G. Let me turn the distortion down a little bit here. And so here's a G. This is a G as well. This is a G. This is a G. That's a G. That's a G. Why? Because I'm playing G, B, and D all at the same time. So you take those 3 notes and you apply it to any key, and you have your triad. It's called a triad because tri means 3, right? And you have a major chord for any key. Let's take D. You have a D chord. You got D, F sharp, and A, right? D, E, F sharp, G, A. If you just count them, you have D, F, and A. But back to knowing your keys, you have to know that that's an F sharp, because if you forget that that's an F sharp, you're going to have a minor chord. Sad. And if you remember that as an F sharp, those are hamsters over there. You have to forgive the noise. Actually, you won't be able to hear it because I'm on the microphone. Hopefully you won't be able to hear it that much. So we have a D. If you remember that, it's an F sharp. See? Just like so. Real easy. Well, after you learn your triads and learn your fretboard, and when I would say arpeggiating, that just simply means you do something like this. And then you go on to minor. You know, you have the happy, right? That's a major, and then you go on to minor. Sad. There's one note change, and that you take the third and you flat it. So for example, let's go to A, just what we was doing there. A, E, A, C sharp. There's 3 notes, A, E, and C sharp. A, B, C sharp, D, E. You take that third, take it down a half step, and you have C. So then you can do the same thing all over the neck. As long as you play those 3 notes, you have an A minor in any key. And then once you know that, you can build off of that. See, then you know, all you have to do is know this nomenclature, the way of saying things. A minor 7. Well, if you know your theory, you know that you flat the 7, so you have a G, add a G. You know, that's why you play this when you look in your books to play an A minor 7. This goes on and on. And you have major 7 chords. That's when you don't flat the 7. So you put a G sharp in there, right? It goes on. You have 11ths and 13ths. You have 6s. You have augmented. You have diminished. You have all these different ways of playing the chords. And all you have to know is the formula. And let's say let's do a. I just made this up. Well, I've played it before, I guess, but let's dissect it. Let's do an example. So we have G, we have an A, we have an E. We have to have a root note. We have to have a bass on the foundation. Let's make that a C. So let's go from C. So I told you we was playing a G. So from C, C, D, E, F, G, that's the 5th. Those two alone, we have a power chord, you know, like heavy metal and stuff, right? And then we added the A, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's a 6, okay? And then we added the E, that's the 3rd, C, D, E. So we could just simply call this a C6 chord. Sometimes you might put add 6, but it's more commonly add on when you do an add 9. Most people know that. Add 9 like this. So chord books will give you some ideals on ways to play chords, but when it comes down to it, you have to know this theory, or you know, I mean, you can memorize a million ways to play the chords, but at some point, you know, you have to kind of know what the chord's made of, you know, to know how to make all these chords. If you want that dissonant sound, these are all the same chord right here. Here's an example. These are all triads of G major 7, G, F sharp, B, and D. Same thing with that one, it's another inversion. Alright, maybe one more thing. I don't know how long I've been blabbing here, but stick with me. If you know this kind of theory, it's easier to solo. Blues is pretty easy to solo because you just, if you know that box pattern, you can always get away with that. But let's say you have a progression of G, D, and C, like Knocking on the Heaven's Door or many thousands of the other songs. You know, G, you know, once you know you can't play a bunch of sharps and just play anything, right? You have to play in key. A G has one sharp, and that's the F sharp, so you can play G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp, and those will all sound good. Here's the here's an example. This is fun to do, especially on acoustic, because you can just start jamming out, and you can practice your keys. Now let's switch to minor. Remember, the only thing, actually a minor scale has a flat 3, flat 6, and flat 7. So you have to remember all those. So you got G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G. That's it, right? Actually, I played a harmonic minor, I think. I messed that one up. So, let me try again. Hear the difference? E flat versus E is what I played. And if I play the E flat, more sadness. Let's go back to major, you know. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. Actually, I played a G mixolydian. See? Now I'm just going all over the place. But the point is, you know, you gotta kind of know what you're playing. I'm gonna do major. All right, here we go. And go back to my previous lesson, you could do tapping that way, you know, just whatever. So I think that wraps it up. Just want to get something out there quick. I have something a little, I have a great video, my buddy and I, Aaron Keenan. Check him out, KeenanBrothers.com or KeenanBros.com, KENNANBROS.com, I believe. Or just look at my friend, search for Aaron, AARONKEENAN. And so him and I got something cool coming for you. So I'll see you later, and comment, check them out. Oh, I do have stuff if you want to check more out. I have a YouTube page, youtube.com/GETWIDTH, get with. Like my screensaver up there. Hopefully it's still recording. And BillyPumphrey.com if you want to check that out. It's been a little bit since I put some videos on there, but that's my personal webpage. It got some songs that Aaron and I wrote, and we recorded and put them on there, so that's kind of cool. All right, see you later.